just Hi guys, my name is Rachel Benning-Tevis, and tonight I'm super excited to be interviewing my friend Chayna, and I'm not going to talk about her when she can talk about herself. So Chayna, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you found it works?
Of course. So I'm Chayna Rodriguez, and I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there. My dogs get crazy every single time I talk, so they're probably going to start making noises and just ignore it because it will just take a minute for them to calm. But I have been in the business for over 3 years now, and I tried the wrap about, I would say, 5 years prior, and I tried it. It didn't work for me. I was given completely wrong instructions. I was told to put the wrap on, go home, and drink as much water as possible. I was previously in the military, and so when I'm told to drink water, I thought I had to guzzle gallons of water in order for this to work. And all I did was blow up completely, and that was back when they used to, okay, that's enough now. Hey, hang on, you guys. That's enough. Oh. Okay, sorry. So basically I just got really extremely bloated. I gained a bunch of water weight, and that was back when they used to tell you to measure. So I basically was just I just wasted $25. It didn't work, carried on with my life. Well, then a couple of years after that, I saw a friend that I used to work with. I think she tried to wrap at the same time I did. We all worked together. And I saw her posting, and I kind of rolled my eyes and was like, oh my gosh, she's doing that. I'm sure most people do when they first see that. Well, then she started posting about detox and stuff like that, and so it intrigued me. I got started as a customer, and I fell in love with the greens, and then I saw her earn a $50,000 bonus, and I was like, well, what the heck? How on earth is this girl that I used to work with? I knew her work ethic, and not that that makes or break you in this business, but before you are in this business, you don't know that. So I was like, how on earth does she earn this $50,000 bonus as a single mom? She had, she never cared about anything when she was at work. That's crazy. And so I ended up asking questions. I asked her questions for over a week. And then finally I was just you know what? I'm going to just do it. And so I jumped in and did it. Never in my lifetime did I think I would do anything like this. And so I got started. I had a really close friend of mine, my supervisor at the time, laugh in my face. It almost made me want to cry. She told me that it was the stupidest thing I just did, and why would you do something like that? That's a scam. And it literally broke my heart. And I thought for a second, why did I do that? But then I talked to my enroller about it, and she gave me a pep talk. So I was like, you know what? Damn right, I'm going to do this and rock it. And so within my first 4 months, I earned a spot on the first It Works cruise to Mexico, which was absolutely crazy because I was a Ruby when I earned it. And then I was Emerald when I actually went on the cruise, and I was standing around all of these ambassadors and black diamonds, and it was just so absolutely incredible. And you were in a free cruise ship, so it was super, super awesome. So then fast forward a couple months after that, I then went double diamond after conference, and in 2 weeks I went from Emerald to double diamond, earned $52,000 in double good bonuses, and the rest I've been at double diamond, but I'm ready to kick it and get to triple and get things rolling. But before this, I was in banking for about 10 years when I joined. I started right out of high school. I started doing banking. Just where I was. And so within that 9-month span, I doubled my full-time job income that I spent 10 years working in that industry. And to me, that blew my mind. When I saw that first double diamond paycheck, I literally cried. My jaw dropped. I was like, this is unreal. How on earth did I just do that? And so, yeah, I've just been going ever since. Is that good? I feel I kind of was all over the place with that.
Couldn't find my unmute button. No, that was really good. So let's see. How am I going to phrase this? So what would be your best advice? I'm just going to hop around a little bit because of who I am as a person. This should surprise nobody on my team. The 80 girl here. So if somebody who was just completely new, not necessarily a distributor you signed, but out of the blue, a new distributor messaged you and was like, what is the best piece of advice you could give me? What would you say is your one to somebody new, or, you know, who feels like they were on a roll and lost it, or just like someone who's like, I just need your best piece of advice?
To never give up. I mean, there's going to be so many moments in your business that no matter how, I mean, there's people that join this and do that I've had join it and do it for like a day and tell me that nobody wants this. I mean, whether you're in now or in the future, like you're gonna hit dry patches in your business, I want to say. But I feel like that's just time for you to really develop in yourself and push yourself, because the harder things get in life, the more challenges you face, the more it's going to push you to want to overcome that. And then just think of that when you overcome that. Like I always think to myself when I go through something super hard, if I'm, whatever the case may be, in my business or personal life, I always think to myself, okay, in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, a year from now, am I even going to remember this? And is it really going to matter as significantly as it is now? And so I always try to remind myself of that. And then if it is like a significant thing in my life, what am I going to grow from that? Why was that given to me? And what is my purpose? Why am I going through that? And what do I need to learn? And I think sometimes it's you just got to hold on and ride it out and just never give up, because I always feel like when you're challenged the most, and especially in your business, that means you're close to something great. Every single time, right before I was trying to promote to that next level, I faced so many haters, so many critics. It was like the devil was just super strong trying to tear me down. And every single time I cried a little and I just kept going and moved forward. And I think you're going to face challenges, but it's just going to make you stronger, wiser, and ready for that next thing in life.
I love that. Okay, so sort of going off of that, because I don't know, I feel like these are two different questions. I hope you like vibe with where my brain is on this. Because that's like you know, I've actually had people I don't know message me that, like, and I'm just like, why? Okay, sure. But what if you were to say over your business, what are like the 3 best things that you've learned from someone else that you've really applied to your business, or have changed your business at different points? Like points that you can say, like, this tip or this style, or like making this decision changed my business. Because I know, having been in as long as you have and reaching the rank that you are, that you've had those moments.
Yeah, definitely. One of the hugest things, and this is for people that work on social media, but one of the hugest things is how you're posting. That is so significant, because this is one of my tips that I was going to go over, which I'm sure this is the same thing, but you need to be mindful of how you're posting and what you're posting and what your content is. And so it needs to touch your heart. Like I realized I was at a really low part in my life and business, and I felt very defeated. And I realized that I was doing a whole lot of copying and pasting, and I had no emotion behind my post. I had no Chayna in my post. It was copy and paste. And when I started taking a picture of myself, or taking a picture of me walking, and just putting emotion in behind what this business truly has done. And if you are brand new and you don't think you have a story, talk about what it's going to do for you. And so that was one thing that I did learn through this, is that you really have to, even if you post 3 times a day, make sure those 3 posts are intentional and they're you. They're not somebody else. And also, I totally just lost my train of thought. Crap, it was right there. Okay, so that was one. So another is the same thing, but in your messages. So I was doing, and I still do this, but I copy and paste my own words, if that makes sense. So I do a lot of the same, conversation, because a lot of your conversations are duplicated. But when I'm talking to somebody, and especially when they give me a reason why they can't, I always, I start to put my own, what would I say back to that? Because I'm a very positive, and I'm going to fix a problem. I'm not going to keep feeding into your problem. I'm going to give you a solution. And so I started doing that in my conversation and just personalizing it and saying, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I get it. Like, I get that you can't afford this right now, but guess what? What if this can completely change your life? You know, or different things like that. Like, that's not exact verbiage on, but you know, things like that. Like, I actually feel what they're feeling because I've been there and I've done that. And so I put that into my conversation instead of, oh, well, when do you think you'll have the money? Like, I try to allow them to feel through what I feel, and because I can relate to that feeling of feeling broke and feeling like I don't even have an extra $100. So that's another thing, is just putting my true feelings and emotions into my messaging. And then the other tip that I've learned through this business is A, getting to an event, and B, putting yourself in situations that you would never have done before. So doing a vendor event, or going up and blitzing somebody, or doing having a wrap party. Even if nobody shows up and it's just your team, have a mock wrap party. Even if you don't have a team, have a pretend wrap party with yourself on your computer. Like, just put yourself in situations that even when you don't want to do them anyways, because there's a reason that you were led to do that. And there's a reason why you feel so strong to not do it, because you're supposed to. You're supposed to do it. And so that's one thing that I've learned, is to just bite the bullet, do it. You're going to feel so much better after you do it. It's going to make you more confident, stronger, and just more assured of yourself that, hey, I can do this.
I love that. Something I wanted to reiterate was the copy and pasting in posting and in messages. I like to think of the copy and paste posts like as a mannequin. Like, when you copy someone else's post, like, that's a mannequin. If you just like put it out there like a mannequin, people can tell it's missing its clothes. Mm-hmm. Like, it's missing something. So if you don't like style that mannequin to be you, like, people can see right through that. So, I mean, on my team, like Kara and Amanda, they're incredible, and I've used their messages. They've used my messages. We pass them around like candy. We're like, yes, but take those and add you to it. Like you said, I forget what you said, was missing Chayna. Like, if it doesn't sound like something you'd say, like, why would anybody believe you? It's, you know, like, you need to believe yourself. Okay, so the next question might sound a little, I don't know. I like these questions. I feel like it makes you think. If somebody came to you and said, you know, Chayna, I have been working. I'm at my wit's end. Like, I've tried this, I've done that, I've done this. And I don't know if I can do this anymore. What would you say to them?
Well, I mean, first off, I would go through what they actually told me, what they've done. Because I think that's a big part of this, is that you think you've done a lot, but you probably haven't. Like, you know, you can't, like, I think a lot of people get started in this business and they joined with their enroller for a certain reason, and you compare yourself instantly to that person. Even though if you don't think you're doing it, you're probably doing it, or you're doing it to the one person that's in your team's challenge that's always posting and all that stuff. But you have to remember that they're probably doing 5 times the amount of things that you just told me you're doing. And so that's like the hugest thing, is what are you doing, and are you actually really doing it? Because you can write down your goals every night to say, I'm going to do this, this, or this, but did you actually do it? And my hugest thing is just step it up even more. It's a numbers game. It truly is a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more people that say, no, not right now, that next person after that is going to be a yes. And you just have to keep pushing to that next level, because there are people that want this. There's people that I've been signing that I talked to when I first started. They're just now signing over 3 years later. And I always think to myself, what if I would have like got hung up on those people that told me no, and I didn't keep pushing forward and keep helping change other lives and move past that? I wouldn't probably be here to sign those people up 3 years later. So you just have to remember that you are planting those seeds, and even if they don't come up until 3, 5, 10 years later, you're just continuing to plant seeds. You continuously have a harvest. And I think that's the hugest thing, that you just need to remember, that you need to get yourself out. And social media is amazing, but it can be very like a dark hole because you are so alone. And so get yourself in front of other It Works people, because when you get around other people, even if it's a one-on-one with your upline on a Zoom call and they feed into you, like, you need to continuously grow and allow yourself to develop into the person you're going to be. And so, you know, when you hit those hard spots, you're educated enough to say, okay, this is what's happening. It sucks and man, this whatever, but you're going to pull yourself out of it because you poured into yourself enough to know better and to know that you're worth more.
Every time I go to unmute myself, my mouse is like up here and I don't know how it keeps happening. So it's like an awkward transition every time. Sorry. And now I forget what my next question was, because that's how it goes. I'm like, if people took bets on how long it took me to forget things, I think I did pretty good this time. So, okay, I remember. Go me. This can be like a list, or you can go in depth. It's whatever you want. What would you say that you do every day that makes you successful?
So I actually write down. I'm a paper person, but I write my 6 list every day, and it's usually always the same. I always post. I always post on my main page minimum of 3 times, and I always post in my stories. I always interact. I message every single day, and I grow my business by following and adding on social media. And that is pretty much every single day is what I'm doing. Like, this is what I tell my team all the time. Like, there's no hidden message. Like, I don't have some kind of message that I was like sending to people that got me to Double Diamond. I just talked to a lot of people, and I worked with the people on my team that wanted this business. And that's what, that's what I continue to do. Like, if you've signed people and they don't do anything, that's okay. Like, the right person that's going to come along is going to come along. You may go through 10, 15. I have one girl on my team who went through a lot of duds before she hit somebody that was on her level. But, it's amazing to hear her talk about, holy crap, like, if I would have just stopped, because she was actually going to quit. And she's like, I'm just, she's at awe at how it actually did turn around for her. And all it takes is 5 people that are on your level of working your business every single day to go Ambassador Diamond. So that's all it takes. So, so those are the things I do every single day, and personal development every single day.
Okay, follow up to that. What are your favorite forms of personal development?
So I I have books on my bookshelf that make it look like I read. I finished one, and it's Go for Known. If you've ever seen it, it's like this thin. I do try to read books. My attention span, and it doesn't always work. I want to try the whole listening while doing that, but I don't know, maybe one day. But my biggest thing is YouTube and just looking up like powerful videos. I mean, when I go on my YouTube now, it's just full of recommendations for inspirational videos. So I do that. I follow a couple of inspirational speakers like Tony Robbins and I can't think of his name right now, TJ Thompson or something like that, like on Facebook. And so I'll see those come in my news feed. But a huge thing is like praying, and I do Bible studies that I have that are super awesome, because I feel like the common denominator in every single person, when you go to an event and they're on stage, they always give praise to God. And to me, that speaks volumes. I feel like, and even if you're not religious, I was raised Catholic, where I was like forced to love God, and I never really connected with it. And then I always believed in God, and I always asked him for stuff in my prayers. Like, can you help me pass my driver's test? And I always wanted him to give. And through this business, and that's another thing that I give so much praise to, is the fact that it's allowed me to be more spiritually connected and to actually find my own way with God and my relationship in that direction. So that's another big part, is praying and being connected. So if that's something you struggle with, I kind of was a little lost, like, where do you even begin? I'm not about to start reading the Bible because that just I can't even finish like a small book like this. And so I do the Bible study, and it does like a day, and they're like 2 pages, and you literally read it, and like it helps you walk through the Bible and read verses and kind of like talk about what you feel about it type thing. So I really like that. It's really, really good.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I mean, I've covered most of the main questions I had. Is there any, oh wait, no, there was one more. Can you, this is completely backwards. What was your timeline? You touched on it when you were talking about the cruise, but you joined, tell me what month you joined and like what months you promoted, if you know that, or just like general, if you don't know the exact months.
Yeah. So I joined April 23rd of 2015. I went executive, I want to say in June. And the way that I went executive was I signed up my boyfriend at the time and a friend of mine who literally told me can you hear my dog? He's like a freaking savage. I'm gonna have like his paw like going through the door, like grabbing me. And then my friend, and she was like, I'm literally doing this for you. And so if you are familiar with charting, like, I don't want to get like too far in depth because I feel like not everyone's like, I don't know what you do with your team. But if you look at those boxes, there's 400 in volume underneath each of them. And so that was just strictly me. Like, I had nobody working. I wanted executive. I wanted to make it happen. Like, I just did. So that was like my main focus. And then I actually had my first planner with It Works because I never used those since high school. And I took a little like sticky note thing and I wrote July 31st, 2015, I'm going to be Ruby. And I just literally stuck it in July when I first started, and I never looked at it again. So I actually boxed and promoted on July 31st for Ruby, and myself and my sister, who is my executive, between the both of us, we filled all of that volume and promoted in one day. Like, so when I tell my team, like, if you set your mind to something and you want it, like, it is possible, 1000% possible. So never limit yourself to timelines or, oh, I just boxed, like, I'm gonna have to wait a whole nother month. Like, anything is possible. You just dig real deep in those contacts, and your uncle from another brother, like, hey, you need some hair, skin, and nails, man. Like, you just kind of do it that way. And so that was July. And then November, I went Emerald. And then in February of 2016, I double promoted. So I didn't even get my diamond chart, but congratulations. But yeah, because they don't give that to you if you double promote. So I went from Emerald to double diamond in like a week and a half.
And let me tell you, that is a huge jump. Yeah. I know that Karen, Amanda, Brittany, there's others on here who can tell you the jump from Emerald to Diamond is like a hurdle, even though it's not that drastic of a jump for whatever reason. I think it's like just, I don't know. But, and then to the jump from Diamond to double, when I first pulled out a double chart, I almost had a stroke. I was like, you want to do what? Like, I just went Diamond and all of y'all were telling me that this is what I was shooting for. And then you hand me this double chart and you're like, it's fine, you can do it. I was all around some crack right now. But like, to do Emerald to double Diamond, I'm telling you, that is some stuff. Like, holy crap. But like, again, I just want to say, I want to reiterate for my team that like, your timeline doesn't have to be the same as someone else's for you to be successful. So, I mean, Chayna joined 2.5 months after me, promoted to double 4.5 months before me. Like, timelines are similar, but like, that doesn't, and that's, I think, a big problem. Like, you need to know yourself. You need to hold yourself accountable, and you need to know what motivates you. If you're the kind of person who you see someone else doing well or not doing well, like, you know what I mean? If you're like a competitive person and that's what does it for you, get yourself an accountability partner. If competing with someone is what, like, then do that. But I know that there's people that if you're constantly looking next to you, it's a distraction and it pulls you away from focusing on yourself. So you're the kind of person who needs to put your blinders on. So like and that goes back to personal development. Like if you don't know those things about yourself, there are some awesome tests you can take. There's some awesome books you can read. Get to know yourself because that's going to help you be successful. So Chayna, is there anything else specific that like you wanted to say or you wanted to share? If not, I'd love if anybody has any questions for you to do that. But if there's anything else like you had planned or you just really wanted to make sure you said, please.
Yeah, I wrote down like random stuff to trigger my mindset. Sometimes I just forget things. But yeah, I mean, the hugest thing was, you know, that I wanted to get across was just make sure you're actually working and make sure you're being yourself. You know, and sometimes like when I first joined this business, I didn't post on social media at all. Like I literally was just a stalker. Like I just creeped. That was all I did. And so it was intimidating for me to really open up and to show who I was as a person. And so it took me a while to kind of find my groove, but I've learned through posting that the more open and vulnerable I am about who I am that's made me here, the more people relate to me. And the more proud I've become of myself for being able to talk about the things that I've had tucked away. And you'll be amazed at how much it allows you to grow and your business to grow and the relationships that you can make with other people that can relate to you. And I don't know, like I just feel like I can't reiterate that enough, that just being yourself and telling your story and your why and where you're going, and even if it's not necessarily tied in with the business all the time, like it's okay, because that's going to make people be drawn to you and to want to see what you're doing every single day, and that's going to kind of like fold into each other. My hugest tip is to stay plugged in and go to events. And, you know, all of you are on this Zoom, so I'll obviously want to stay plugged in. But those of you that watch the recording, like, why weren't you here? Just kidding. But stay plugged in. Do what your leadership is there helping you to stay motivated and do Zooms calls like this and power hours. And we have our corporate team that does events all over. Like, get your booty to one. Like I went to one, I joined the 23rd of May or April, and in May I drove an hour to an event. Like I had no idea. I just knew I wanted to go to an event and see what it was all about. And that completely changed my mindset in my business, because they asked us to stand up and say what our ultimate goal in our business was. And I said Ruby, and the girl next to me that I had to tell was like, Ambassador Diamond. And I'm like, Ruby. Like looking back on that, like my mindset was so small compared to it is now. And events will change you and give you a vision for yourself and your business and give you reassurance in where you are and where your feet are planted in this company, because you need to be confident in when you're talking to people, because let's face it, you're going to face haters, you're going to face critics, and those are people are going to rock your boat and make you feel like, is this really where I should be? But when you are reassured because you've been to events and you know that this company would fight tooth and nail for you, that's what you're going to do when you're talking to people and when you face those people. You're going to learn how to have confidence in yourself and the company you're representing. And yeah, so don't be afraid to ever reach out to your upline. I'm sure you have a I love you team like I do. I tell my team every day I love them, and I hug them, air hug them, and all those things. So, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to people that can help you to fill your cup and then help you to fill your own cup going forward type thing. So we all need it. Every single person in this business needs it. So I think that's, I don't know if people have questions.
Yeah, okay. If anybody else has questions, please put them in the chat. You have one with a follow-up. It says, hi, what if you send messages and posts, but just you're hitting a dry spot? And this is like, I don't know if they're together, but, and also what do you do when it's not going anywhere when someone comments or messages you?
Okay, so just to be clear, so what if you send messages and posts, but
I'm assuming that means like you're just not getting the response you're hoping for. Like what would your advice be?
So, I mean, I send out messages every day I send out messages. So I'm I never take the time to really go back and look if people have looked at it. I only really care when they message me. So I would just say message more people, and who cares about the ones that haven't responded to you. But then also, you know, if you're like, if you are really gung-ho about this one person that you talk to and you really want them, I mean, don't be vulnerable or desperate or anything like that. But, you know, maybe write down the people you are messaging and make sure you're going and interacting on their page and saying stuff. I've been to plenty of events where people are like, yeah, my enroller messaged me 15 times. I ignored her every single time, and I signed up, and now I'm an ambassador diamond. So never give up on them, but also at the same time, don't get hung up. Don't stay there. Like, keep going. There's way too many people out here that want this. So just keep messaging, and just don't, it's like when you're running, like, don't look back, like, just keep going forward. And then when you're saying, if somebody comments, I'm assuming, on your post, and then you message them, I get people that comment on my posts. I just had one yesterday, actually. It was like a cleanse post, and this girl's been my potential for forever. I know she's going to sign up. It's just a matter of time. But she's like, message me more info. So I messaged her more info, and she didn't say anything. And so people sometimes just get busy. Maybe she looked at it and forgot, so I'm just going to follow up again. And that's how this business works. People need you to follow up. I followed up with her probably 6 times already. She's still there posting on my stuff that she's interested. So she's going to do it. And that's another thing. When you're talking to people, I always sit there and I'm like, you're going to be my loyal customer. You're going to be my loyal customer. You're going to be my DT, my new DT. And then I do a happy dance every single time I sign someone up. I always, like, you know, chest bump my dogs, and like, I just, you know, I make it really interactive for my household. But no, I tell my husband, I'm like, I just signed somebody. He's like, good job, babe. Because he's like super monotone and like mellow. And I'm like, yeah. So just be excited, like, be pumped up, even the little things. Like, even if you just message 10 people and nobody responded, that 11th person is going to tell you no, but be excited they told you no, because that is one step closer to your yes. So just the little things. You just have to give yourself credit for the little things, that you are on the Zoom and you messaged X amount of people, and now you're going to go and message X amount of people more.
And I think that's such a thing. What you said, I'm going to expand on that, is that if we're going to focus on all these tiny, tiny little negatives, like this went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong, you need to focus on all those tiny positives too. And I promise you, if you're equally representing both, the negatives aren't going to seem as bad. But we get so sucked into those tiny negatives instead of noticing what are sometimes often much bigger positives. But we're so focused on those negatives that we don't acknowledge. So we need to acknowledge, like you said, those tiny victories and chest bump our dogs. So,
right.
Dude, exactly. My dogs would die if I chest bumped them. They're so tiny. Like, I would fly across the room, done forever. That would be terrible. They're sleeping on my husband right now.
Well, a lot of people have like kids and stuff. And so like my sister's in this business, and she's a double diamond, and she has my niece. And so she has a laptop that she goes and signs customers up on. And so every time she pulls it out, Addie will be like, you signing a customer, Mama? Like, she knows that. And so, like, that's because Tiara, like, does her happy dance when she does things, and she incorporates Addison into that. And I'm sure that makes her excited when she's giving her praise, like, good job. And, like, you know, my niece, like, loves dancing and shaking her hips. So, you know, like, it's, you know, like, teach your kids what you're doing. Let them have goals with you. And my dogs just know that the more money I make, the more bones they get. So, like,
it's a good time for everybody. I love that. Does anybody else have any questions for Chayna before we wrap this up? If you do, just put it in the chat. I'll just give it a second. This is like the part of Zooms I hate because it's slightly awkward. It's like,
right.
Anybody gonna ask a question? But I'll start the thank you, and if a question rolls in, we'll revert back to it. But Chayna, thank you for just taking the time to pour in us and share your story. It's always so good to get just another perspective, you know, because everybody who's successful is has reached these ranks, but we've all done it differently. And I think it's so important to hear, because maybe you connect more with like how Chayna says she did things or described things, or maybe you already chest bump your dogs and you're like, yeah, that's me. I'm sorry that I never talked about chest bumping my dogs and I let you down this far, but maybe tonight is your turning point. So.
Right. And now you're going to start chest bumping your dog and you're going to be like just making it rain, like all these loyal customers and DTs, because you're making it rain.
Chest bumping your dog. Somebody else sent a question. How do I post like genuine posts about our products, but not have enough experience with testing or having used any of the products? Because I am one of the ones that has just started.
So one of the hugest things with that is always sharing people. Okay, first off, the going to events is a huge part of this, because you're going to see somebody that has a huge, tremendous like weight loss or health or all of those different things. You're going to be able to be like, this girl, like my best friend. But even if I've never met them or I've never seen them at an event, like those before and afters, this is what I do. I do the fit page, and I know I told you this, Rachel, but I go to the fit page because those are all it works people in there, and they're using the products, whether they're a customer or distributor, and they're sharing their before and afters. And so I'll go in there, and let's say there's a girl named Stacy that just posts that she lost all this weight using X, Y, and Z products. I'll go and take it and be like, girl, look at my best friend, Lindsay, or Stacy, whatever the heck your name I just said. Look at it. She's lost 35 pounds and this, that, or the whatever. I'll do that. Or even just a simple using the text with like the color backgrounds. I'll just say, OMG, look in the comments. And then I'll put the picture in the comments. And then underneath, I'll put something catchy with my post, because I don't know how much your team goes into like the algorithm of Facebook and all that stuff, but it will catch keywords and your post won't be seen as much. But let's be real, people are going to go and look in your comments and look at that. So I do catchy things like that, and I don't even put a lot of feelings into the product posts. I do my own personal. So when you get to that point of having your own wrap results, like use the wraps in your kit. And if you sign when you got the Fit 5, like start using those products and talking about it. But until you have your own, just really just be catchy, and then also just use other people's success stories and act like they're your best friend and you're just so excited for them.
I love that. Does anybody else have anything? I feel like every time I'm like ready to close it, a question's gonna roll in. I have such anxiety. I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay, well.
So can I just say, Kara Hunt, you look like a supermodel. Like
her selfies are like, I know her, and yes, she is that pretty. But when her selfies pop up on my feed, I always think they're an ad for something. Yeah. I'm always like, oh my gosh, look at this person who's trying to sell me teeth whitener. Oh God, dang it, Kara. And like, or makeup, or like I was like, my gosh, this has to be a hair straightener. Dang it, it's Kara. No, every time it gets me. And she's silent. Someone said, and I'm feeling so overwhelmed right now because it's so much on me. I just don't know where to start and where to continue on. So I think this is about being new and just like not having experience with the products. I'm going to let Chayna feed in this too, but make sure that you're using your eSuite. Like when I started, all these like pages and scripts, like they didn't exist yet. Like we didn't have the resources we have now, but I know I can imagine being new and coming in and just having all this stuff thrown at you is like a lot. So that's okay for it to feel like a lot at once because it's a lot of new information. That's normal. Okay. But what I did, because those things didn't exist, as much at least, was that I just went into my eSuite and read under documents, the product info. And I also learned what the website looked like from a customer's perspective. So like what my website is, my first and last name, well, my maiden name, .itworks.com. Yours is whatever you picked. Go to that website to see what people you are sending to your site are seeing. Just like getting familiar with that, like, that's easy, like just read a little and you can do that at your own pace. There's the training academy on eSuite. Don't feel like you have to have all the answers right away. And I know a lot of people who joined around the time I did, will say, like, I was ignorance on fire. And it's okay to be ignorance on fire at first. To just know that this is exciting, that it works because you've seen results of other people and what it can do for people. And you don't have to be able to say every time I tried this. You can say, my upline Rachel, my upline Amanda, my upline Kara, my friend Chayna said that it tastes like this. Like, that's okay to say, to just pull on the people around you. Like, you have people around you who have tried things you haven't. You're allowed to use that. So don't feel like you have to do it all by yourself. That's the point of a team. Chayna, do you have anything to add?
I think just taking it step by step and just focusing on, okay, I have 4 of you. I don't know if you've signed any of your customers yet, but I have 4 loyal customers that I need to sign up, and just focusing on maybe just weight loss or just hair, skin, and nails, or, just like focusing on an area and allowing your post to be in that direction, because whatever you're posting about, that's what people are going to be drawn to and inquiring about. So I always give my new distributors a before and after, like an exciting post, and then just build off of that. So just build off of the weight loss. And then I also encourage them to reach out to close friends and family at the same time. So make sure that you're asking your mom and your sisters and I signed up my grandma when she was here as she started using the greens. So, I just literally ask anybody and everybody. And if you have a job, like if you do start reading the product info, my go-to is greens, and it still is greens. I feel like greens can change anybody's life. So go and read the greens. And when you go to work tomorrow and you hear somebody say they have a headache, be like, oh my gosh, you should totally try those greens, because this girl Chayna that I know, it helped with her migraines and it helped with my heartburn too. So you can go and you can tell people that you know somebody that it helped with that. Obviously you don't want to go say it's going to cure something, but that it's going to help. And it's just going to give them energy and detox you, and it's just going to make you feel awesome. Like, you should totally try and get started as my 90-day customer, my 90-day challenge customer. However you feel comfortable wording it, and just make it super simple and to the point, and focus maybe on just one product or one area, so you don't feel super overwhelmed with all of the products, because we do have a lot of products going on. So, and maybe focus on something that you're interested in. So I don't know what your goals are with your health, but find something that you're interested in. And the more interested you're in, you're going to learn more, and then you're going to talk about it more. And it's going to be something that's just natural to you. It's like saying, I have a favorite, movie or favorite food at Taco Bell, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's going to just come natural for you to talk about Taco Bell.
Did you just say talk about Taco Bell, or did you say talk about Taco Bell?
Talk about Taco Bell, because I don't know why I use people go around talking about their favorite food from Taco Bell, like out of all the places.
Who doesn't have a favorite food from Taco Bell? That's the real question. Like, if you talk about when you used to bring up Taco Bell, and there's always that one person who's like, ooh, Taco Bell. But as soon as they've had 3 vodkas, that they're the one loving the Taco Bell. So I don't know why we pretend that we don't all love Taco Bell. So, anyways, okay, I think, unless one rolls in again here, it's that moment of truth. But Chayna, thank you so much again for taking the time to be here. We really appreciate everything that you had to add in. I will send this recording to you guys. And if anybody on your team, guys, missed this, make sure you send them this recording, because like Chayna said, personal development is so important. And this is a form of it. And that's another thing. If you are like, I don't know what to do, search for Zooms like this. There's a million, I promise you. And you can learn something from each of them. So thanks again, Chayna. Everybody have a really good, what day is it? It's Wednesday. Everybody have a good Wednesday night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.